This is the K95.3 Sports Show podcast, brought to you by the Fan Zone in Wilmer's Candy Mall.
Welcome to the K95.3 Sports Show podcast. My name is Beau. I am your host. As usual, if you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button. If you're on your cell phone, hit the bell right next to the subscribe button, and you will get all update, or when we release a new episode every Wednesday, you'll get a notification on your phone that it has been posted. Also, thank you to the Fan Zone for sponsoring the K95.3 Sports Show podcast. Appreciate you guys doing that. Get into the Candy Mall and visit the Fan Zone. Also, we are still looking for Mount Rushmores. If you want to be on our show and talk sports, please email me your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players at k953sportsshow@gmail.com, and it gives you a chance to be on our show and talk sports with me. I want this to be a local talk sports podcast. Anybody who loves to talk sports, I want you to have a chance to be in here and talk it with me. So please email me those. We'll go ahead and get to our guest with me this week. We've got Tim Jackson is back. He hasn't been here since just before the season even started, so it's been a while. Good to see you again, Tim.
Hey, good to see you too, Beau.
All right, and we got a newbie here this week. We got Cam Halverson. He's coming in and to talk some Vikings and some Timberwolves with us. Cam, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, you guys. So we'll go ahead and jump right in here to the Vikings-Pats game. Those that listen know that even after we lose, I try to start with a positive. So our positive is, I think, a pretty obvious positive, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook looked amazing. He was fast, way faster than everybody. I mean, the announcers, they talked about, well, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I usually don't pay attention to what they say, but they're all up on Burkhead being fresh legs. What about Cook? I mean, talk about fresh legs. I mean, he was fast and breaking through those holes. And, we'll talk about he could have had a lot more rushing in the next bit. But just, what was your guys' Tim, with you? What do you think about Cook? What did you think about his game on Sunday?
I think it's kind of a blessing for him to be hurt early on and get a lot of rest. And now he's coming into the stretch run of the season with fresh legs. And I just really feel like they kind of let New England off the hook because they didn't run him enough, I didn't feel like. So as far as Dalvin Cook goes, feed him. Yeah.
No, exactly. Like I said, he's fresh. He hasn't had the wear and tear on him this season. And I talked last week, he never goes down with the first person. Right, no. Cam? You never see him go down with the first person.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, so it's he's constantly breaking tackles, and I just like everything about his style. What are some of the things you like the best about Cook, Cam?
I like Cook. I mean, he's young, fresh legs. He can also catch out of the backfield, which is a blessing. A lot of backs can't. I think when AP was here, he couldn't catch out of the backfield. Mm-hmm. So that's a blessing also for Kirk Cousins for like a check down purposes. I think at Florida State, he beat Work Dunn's rushing record. Career rushing,
yeah,
I believe.
I believe so.
So I believe feed the young man. Feed him.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Continue feeding him. We just touched base on Cook a little bit, and we'll continue to talk about him when we're talking about our offensive coordinator, Defilippo, and what he is now. Last couple of weeks, everybody's been hating on Cousins. And I think the pro-Cousins people finally put that fire out, but now the fire is on Flip, our offensive coordinator. Everybody wants him gone, like yesterday. Everybody wants him gone. I'm torn because I feel that he's got some positive things, and I think we should give him a chance. I mean, he was offensive coordinator for Cleveland, I guess, for a year, but then again, that's Cleveland. So does that really count?
Right. Even Bill Belichick was at Cleveland, got fired from Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. Belichick will go down as probably the best coach of all time. Couldn't even do anything with Cleveland. So in his play calling has been very up and down. He'll have a good half, then he'll have a bad half. And I think that came into factor on Sunday. Like you mentioned, Tim, Cook only got 9 carries, and he was like averaging over 9 yards a carry. And we weren't down 24. We weren't down by 17 into the second quarter. We tied it in the third quarter. Why get away from the run? Well, I've got both of you guys in here. For those that don't know, both Cam and Tim are part of the Minnesota Mud Dogs amateur football team that's in the area, and they both work with the offense and the offensive coordinator's spots. So that's kind of why I have you guys in here to talk about this. Tim, talk to me a little bit more about what you think they could do differently, what Flip can do differently, or what you might have seen. Just your thoughts on Defilippo.
I think he just needs to have more balance. I think he falls in love with the passing game, and he does have two great receivers with you got Thielen and Diggs. Those are great receivers. I don't think he uses his tight end enough either. So if he could really run that football about 50-50, use your tight end down the middle, it'll open things up even more for Cooks, for Dalvin Cook to break some bigger runs, but also for Diggs and Thielen. I just think right now they're a little pass heavy, and it shows, and that's why a lot of people are kind of not really happy with Kirk Cousins, but he's just doing what they're asking him to do, and I think they need to ask him to hand the ball off just a little bit more.
Your thoughts, Cam?
I'm a big Cousins fan, so and I don't.
Me too.
And I think, and like I said, I think Flip needs as a young coordinator and being a first coordinator since Cleveland. I mean, coming from Philly.
Yep.
I think I piggyback off Tim. I think he wants to throw a lot because you got to hang with New England. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the stats, New England ran the ball over 25 times total. We ran the ball. Vikings ran the ball total 13, 14 times. Cook had, I think when we talked about, Cook had 9 carries for 84 yards. And I think the whole entire Patriots, Sony Michel had 17 carries for 63 yards. That should tell you, imagine if Cook had 18 touches. I think he rushes almost 200 yards. But if you run the ball more, you help Cousins. If you run the ball, you help Cousins, and I think you'll see Cousins' completion rate can go up more too. And it helps Diggs and Thielen out more. You get more one-on-one coverage because they're going to have to stack the box against Cook.
It's a classic example of, if you make the defensive line respect the run so they're not constantly putting their ears back and rushing the quarterback. And when you're constantly throwing the ball, then they can do that.
You get predictable.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
one-dimensional.
Yes, and I think that's been a lot of the fans' complaint is that, I remember when Chili was here, and I just hated Chili with a passion. Even when he was my least favorite option when they were looking for head coaches, because he didn't make play calls, and then him and his kick-ass offense, blah, 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 blah. But his offense was very vanilla, too. It just didn't seem like a lot of fancy enough. I will say that one play I did like that didn't work Sunday. Oh, what was it? It was the screen. We had the 2 wide receivers going behind, and he faked it to both of them, and then he dumped it off to Cook for a screen. I liked that play. That was something different. It didn't work that time. Yeah, it didn't work that time, but I think we should definitely see that again. And misdirection is such a huge thing right now in the NFL. Yeah. Huge thing. And that's what we saw the Vikings defense struggle with in the first 4 games. Yes. And now they've obviously turned it around. But, that I feel he just he needs to open up the playbook.
Here, I'll say this, Beau. I think that Zimmer needs to get in his ear, because when you have a defense as good as Minnesota's defense is, you need to protect that defense.
Agreed.
And the way you can protect the defense is run the football. And in this time of the year, getting close to the playoffs, you have to be able to run and defend the run. And Minnesota can defend the run, and they also can run. But you got to get an offensive coordinator that's willing to put the ball in Dalvin Cook's hands and let that defense get rest. And that's what it comes down to. When you're throwing and your defense is back on the field after a 3 and out, they just get a little tired and they don't perform as good as they would if they had some rest.
Can I say, I guarantee if it was a 23-year-old AP, he'd be getting those touches.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But I love everything about Cook. He is dynamic. Yeah, I had people when he was hurt and not playing, and Murray was doing okay. Murray was doing Murray stuff, respectable.
And that's another thing about, you got Murray. You got 2. Murray. You brought him over from the Oakland via free agent, but why not run? You can use both of them.
Yeah.
They should run their ball 30 or 35 times a game. There's no reason
why they ain't no running between 20 and 30 times a game instead of 14 total.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, definitely Filippo needs to sit down with Coach Zimmer, and Zimmer needs to tell him, hey, we need to run the ball. And you can see Zimmer, if you've seen any of his after-game stuff, he's not happy one bit.
Yeah, I read an article that he was getting a little frustrated with Flip.
Well, 44 passes to 13 rush attempts, guys.
Exactly. And I think Tom Brady even last game threw 34.
32.
32.
See, 32 times.
Yeah, and he threw.
And actually, Cam, to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, they rushed the ball almost 40 times.
Yeah, the Patriots?
New England.
Yeah, see?
Yep.
And we only ran the ball 14, I think, total, right?
Yeah.
Vikings, yeah.
Yep. Nine. Cook had 9, and Murray had 4.
And
13 rushes.
Let's see, Cook had 9 carries for 84 yards. I'm like, imagine if you give him 15 to 16 touches. Imagine. I understand he had his knee, but he's young. Yeah. He's young. Feed him. Feed the young cat.
Yeah, he's exactly. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm willing. Everybody else is willing to throw him to the Wolves, Defilippo, and I still think he's got a lot of potential. Like I said, I want to see the rest of the season. I want to see an improvement now over the last 4 games, and if we get into the playoffs, 5 games or whatever, I want to see the more consistency with his play calling.
Yeah, he just got to even it out more. He's not a bad offensive coordinator. He just has to learn that who you got back there and what kind of defense you have, and to let that defense rest. 44 pass attempts. That's your defense isn't resting.
If he's throwing 44 times, we should be down by multiple touchdowns before halftime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, they're right in that
not
game.
Tied 10-10 midway through the third quarter.
I can tell you a prime example. Same thing happened to us. Not to get on like we're anything special, but the Mud Dogs in our playoff game, we were down 6 points, and all of a sudden we went to throwing. If we just would have ran the football, that's a game that we could have won too. So it's. I know how you can get lost sometime in the mix and not realize what's going on, but charting your plays, and I'm sure they do it, and I'm sure that's the first thing that Zimmer looked at when the game was over is how many pass attempts, how many rushing attempts. So if Zimmer can talk to him, and I know he will, sit down, talk with him, explain to him, hey man, you got to run the football.
Yeah, because Zimmer's a good coach.
It's easily solved just by running the football.
Yeah, no. It'll be interesting to see now against Seattle how that really changes coming up here next week.
Yeah, Seattle. I think they were. I was looking. I think they're ranked 17th against the run. So that's right in the middle in the league. So I say feed Cook, and I think they're 17 or 15 against passing too. So
yeah, they're not the defense of old.
No,
Seattle.
They're not the Legion of Boom no more. Indeed,
exactly. So speaking of defense, let's go ahead and talk about the Vikes defense. First, the DB injuries. I mean, that's what's gonna hurt us the most, and I think that's what hurt us even in the game because let's be honest, our front 4 against New England, we're not getting to Brady at all. And I mean, we had 1 quarterback hit and 0 sacks. That quarterback hit was the Harrison Smith coming off that led to the interception. Oh, why don't you imagine that?
Yeah.
You get to Tom Brady, he does something dumb. And so, I think he did that because he was I think Zimmer, as the game went along, obviously Rhodes played about 2/3 of the time. Then Waynes goes down with a concussion, and all of a sudden we got, we just got Holton Hill out there, and it's just. And Marcus Sherrills. I read that Marcus Sherrills hadn't played a single defensive back snap since Zimmer has been coached because he'd been strictly special teams, which is fine. And I love him, but he's just not a defensive back. He should not be going up against the number 2,
right?
Wide receiver.
But in all of those defense, look at the score. I mean, you see how many points that New England put up on Kansas City, and we're doing it with these D-backs. I mean, so they still play well defensively. But
I agree.
The way you beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots is you have to get up on those receivers and not let him get rid of the ball quick. That's why he doesn't get hit much because he throws the ball so quick. Gets rid of it.
Dink and dunk.
And another way you beat Brady is not have him on the field.
Yes. Right. Back to the running game.
Back to the running game. Run the ball. That's how you beat New England. But if you pound those possessions.
Yeah, if you press coverage those receivers, and then some of those D linemen start to get home. But if he can sit back there and get rid of that ball, I mean, he's getting rid of that ball under 3 seconds.
Yeah. No, that was for me the most disappointing part on the defense was their lack of getting to Brady. I just. We came in, we were, I think top 5 in the league in sacks, and they were like bottom 5 in the league in sacks. And they had like 4 sacks. Let me see. They ended up only with 2, but they also hit him 6 times. So
right.
yeah, there was a lot more pressure. But then that's also on our offensive line. But the DB injuries are going to hurt us the most. I mean, we were without our top 3 defensive backs from the start of the season.
Yeah.
At several points during the game. You can be the best defensive coach ever, and you can't make up for that. That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's we'll have to see once again what happens. Hopefully Wayne's concussion isn't bad enough that he misses Seattle. I mean, the fact that Rhodes played a little bit this game should bode well for him for next week. Hopefully he didn't make it worse. We'll have to see how that goes as the week goes along, but it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if there's any other thoughts you guys had on the game that I might not have touched a base on. I'm trying to think.
The old Viking Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, we didn't talk about.
He had 2 returns. I mean, right here it says 2 returns, 55 yards.
Yeah,
they're making him look like how I think we should have used.
They
him
used them. They run them. They
use
put
them
him
in
the
every
passing
way.
game, and
Athlete.
even Zimmer said that they didn't use him right when he was with Minnesota. So
right,
it was more difficult too because when he was here, we also had AP.
True.
So you're not going to be like, excuse me, best running back in Viking history and arguably one of the best running backs of all time. We're going to sit you for a couple plays so Cordero Patterson can come in and run the ball.
Right.
So I mean, I could understand that a little bit, and I think it was just time to cut him loose anyways. I mean,
True.
he's a cute little player, but
True.
very versatile. But hey, if New England picks him up, what does that tell you?
Well, it's perfect though. I mean, that's what Belichick's known for, is picking up discarded players and turning them,
finding out what they're good at.
Like
and
Corey
using
Dillon.
Taking advantage of their
Corey
strength.
Dillon was on the bottom of his career, and he picked him up and had a couple of good seasons with it. He does that. He picks those players and he's able to pick them up. Whatever he does it great.
Yeah, Moss's best year was with New England.
Yeah, well, touchdown wise.
Touchdown.
Well, unless you're
Isn't that what
Ocho
really
Cinco,
counts?
though. Unless you're Ocho Cinco, though.
Yeah.
23 TDs? Ooh, yeah, Ocho Cinco didn't fit.
Yeah, that didn't work. So some people are beyond help.
Right, yeah, sometimes.
And
how about Dan Bailey? Didn't he miss a kick?
yeah.
One or two.
Yeah, that was that. No, just the one. It was the one where our punter got out there late. It was like 11. He got out. I don't know what he was doing, but he didn't get in his position until about 11 seconds left on the play clock.
Okay.
So all of a sudden he's rushing, and so I think maybe that might have affected a little bit. But yeah, I'm torn on that too.
Do you believe in him, Beau? Do you believe in Bailey if it came down to it in a clutch situation? Do you think he can get it done?
I still would.
I would. I think
I would.
His history shows. I mean, maybe it's the Vikings curse. I don't know, but it's just.
It's been a bad year for kickers all the way around.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the only one who's struggling.
I lived in Minnesota the last 10 years, and Vikings have grown on me a lot, and the kicking's always comes down to that kicking.
Mm-hmm.
That kicking, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And then the dome kickers, so when they go outside, it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no,
it's a little different.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's something to continually watch. Obviously, I hope he finishes strong. I want him to finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always
He's
cheering.
Gonna have to, because
I'm always cheering for the
tight
kickers.
games. They're going to be in some tight games coming down the stretch.
Yep.
They got a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, because even Gostkowski missed a kick.
Yeah.
Sunday also. So
Right.
Vinatieri missed a kick.
Yeah, and then exactly.
And
So
that's like unheard of.
Yeah,
right?
so it's I get it. It's
Clutch all the time.
Yeah. So it's thing to watch the rest of the season. I don't know if they're going to sign him beyond it, but we'll see what happens. But let's go ahead and get into the preview for the Seahawks game coming up. I mentioned last week at the beginning after a few weeks into the season, I was kind of like, "Wow, geez, that Seahawks game all of a sudden looks like a lot easier of a matchup." Now over the last month, I'm like, no, it doesn't look like an easy of matchup as I once thought. I mean, to be honest, I was kind of looking through their schedule. It's very Viking-esque, as in they haven't beat a lot of good teams. I mean, they beat the Panthers, but the Panthers on a 4-game skid.
Yeah, they was the first ones to start that skid, though.
So,
Or was it the second game?
No, that was their third loss in a row because they played them 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So that was the Panthers' third straight loss.
Okay.
So I mean, you've got the Panthers. They beat they beat the Cowboys, but that was back in September, and the Cowboys have they're definitely just like Seattle back then. The Cowboys are a better team, a little bit better of a team, I guess, than what they were back in September. So,
but if you look at Seattle, they notoriously start slow. So they never really start out fast, but then once they get it figured out, they down the stretch. They're always somewhere to be found. They'll be in the mix.
I think the last couple of years the Vikings have been playing Seahawks, right? Last couple of years.
It seems like we always play the Seahawks.
Every year. And the Giants. And the scores have actually been a field goal games. There really hasn't been too many touchdowns. There have been more field goal kicking games, defensive battle games, both times. Yeah. I mean, I think they've been playing them last 3 years consecutively. Probably. And it's been like 9-12. I think the other one was like 12-15 or 6-9 or something like that.
Yeah, it's been all close games. So it's going to be a good game either way. It's going to be close. What will need to happen for the Vikings to win? I mean, we kind of touched on it. Feed Cook.
Yeah.
I mean,
and turnovers, no turnovers. They have to cut down on
the Seahawks are ranked 17th against the run and I think 19th against the pass.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
20th in total defense.
Yeah, so I mean, it's there. It's there for us to take advantage of.
Yes.
On the defense is just going to try to keep Russell Wilson contained and keep him in the pocket and hit him.
And keep Lockett from getting behind the defense.
Yeah.
Lockett is really
Minnesota is ranked 6th in the defense in the league right now.
Yeah.
We dropped
what are they against the pass?
Yeah, did they? Against the pass?
What was it? I said it last week. We were 6th in the pass last week, so we're probably 7th or 8th now. Maybe 7th or 8th.
The Vikings will be 9.
9
against the pass.
But we were
still not bad. It's still top 10 defense.
Yeah, we were 6 before the Pats game.
Okay.
You got to remember that Doug Baldwin wasn't there early in the season. He's back, and now he's back in shape, and he's playing well. So that their offense has gotten better over the stretch of the season. And they're running the ball much better.
That Carson guy.
Yeah, Carson's. They're looking like the Seattle of old, except for they don't have that secondary. But other than that, offensively, they look very similar to what they've looked like in the past.
Yeah, I call Russell Wilson the magic man sometimes because he'd be pulling rabbits out of his hat all the time. So
yeah, no, he definitely surprised me. I wasn't expecting much from him when he came into the NFL, but he's definitely he's definitely made me eat some of my words on him.
Right. He's made his way.
How does Deion say it? First name Russell, last name Wilson.
You know what? If you get middle pressure against Russell Wilson, no, he's not as effective. But when you get there, you got to take him down because if you don't, if you miss that sack, he's
his legs will kill you.
He's gonna make you pay.
Well, Tom Johnson and Sheldon Richardson already said that they're pumped for this game, and they're both interior linemen, so they'll hopefully they come in more psyched.
Right.
And because Sheldon said he was disrespected by their contract offer. And then of course Tom, what happened with Tom? They sign him and release him and we take him back. So that's what's going to need to happen. And what about final score? What do you guys think? What do you think final score? Cam, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Like I said, they've been close games. I'm gonna go with like a 13-17 type game. Vikings.
Nice. Tim?
2017. Vikings.
All right, I am going to go 24-17 Vikings. I think after it, like I said, our offense is so I think Zimmer will go after DeFilippo and I think we kind of be going every other game with a great offensive juggernaut. You know what I mean? So I think we'll do that as we'll come out more offensively because we've had kind of a stinker game last game.
They're Seattle, right?
Yeah, at Seattle, correct.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
That's why I think it's going to be that's why, yeah.
Hey, you want to change your score now or what?
No, 2017 Seattle.
No, okay.
If it's in Seattle,
Yep. No, it is going to be tough. Yeah. But we need to win this game.
Yeah, you have to. Both of them have to have it, though.
Because they play the Bears at the end of the year, right? The Vikes?
Correct.
That'll probably be before the division.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, just once,
Yeah. So it'll be the Vikings need to win this game because Seahawks jumped ahead of them in the playoff race.
Yep.
We bumped back up into the 6th seed because of Washington losing Monday night. But we need to beat that just in case we don't win the division, and we'll need that tiebreaker against the Seahawks. Or we'll just need that extra win. There ain't going to be a tiebreaker because we have a tie. That is the tiebreaker.
Right.
we can't get through this podcast without saying Adrian Peterson's 90-yard touchdown.
Oh snap!
That's the longest in his history.
And it had to be a
college or professional.
It had to be a Redskin.
Yeah, right.
We got one of our Mud Dogs coaches and owners happy about it right now. He's a diehard Redskins fan.
Oh, jeepers! Yeah, no,
Shout out the dudes.
I'm a huge AP guy, so I'm happy to see that that his talk leading up to this season that he can still do it, he's backing it up. And talking about going away from that, he had that 90-yard run. They only ran him like four more times after that.
I know, that's like
it's like why?
Yeah,
I heard Max on First Take today going off on I forgot who, on Stephen A. Just like, oh, he had one run, who cares? I'm like, man, that's 90 yards is still impressive for his age.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he only got 3 carries. What do they want him to do?
That too, and then not just that.
Defilippo was there calling the plays.
And not just that, I think when he was running, there was nobody by him at least by 5 or 10 yards.
Yeah, he blew away.
Yeah,
I was surprised. He showed his I'd seen some longer runs through this season, and I didn't think he had the breakaway speed, but he was showing a little more breakaway speed there on that.
Yeah,
on that play.
He pulled away. There was nobody catching him.
Can I share my one AP story?
Yeah, go ahead.
My one AP story. My first Viking game, when they were playing the Lions, and this was McNabb as that quarterback. McNabb, yes, I know McNabb. And this game ended up, long story short, was at the old Metrodome, and they go to overtime. AP, this is when I became an AP lover. When he had 2 60-yard touchdowns called back both times. Oh. And nobody was near him by at least, I don't know, 10, 15 yards, blew past him. And I was like, I fell in love with him then. And I was like, greatest running back I've ever seen in my life. So.
Yeah.
I've been an AP fan since the Oklahoma days, but I happened to be at the game where he broke the rushing record. Oh, so that to me is always going to stick in my mind. And what people don't know is he had 2 long runs called back in that game as well.
I believe it.
He could have rushed over 400 or 500 yards in that game if you go back and look at the.
I believe it.
They rushed for 400.
Yep. No, that was a crazy game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was fun. Well, awesome. Well, let's see what happens. Like I said, we need this game. We'll go ahead and jump over to the T-Wolves here. Obviously, people who listen have heard we're very football Viking heavy. So, but we just have to talk about the Wolves because of what they've been doing over the last 10 games since the trade. And, just to go over here, their defense has been the biggest change. Everybody talked about Butler being this great defender, and I'm sure he's a good defender, but with Butler, our defensive rating was 114.3, which was 28th in the league. Since the trade, we are second in the league with 100.7.
Nice.
That's a huge difference, 28th to second. And let's see, they've over the last 10 games, 7 teams they've held under 100 points. This is the running gun NBA. This isn't the 1980s, 1970s.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of that, they wore the retro jersey last night.
Yeah, it was nice. It was pretty sweet.
It's really this can attribute to one player can make that big of a difference on an NBA basketball team.
It can.
They just didn't like him. At the end of the day, they didn't want to play with him. They didn't want to play for him. So that's why they didn't play well. Yeah, it really came down to that.
I was talking with somebody the other day, and I said before it was Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves. Now it's the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
right.
Just the Timberwolves.
They're a team now, and they held. I heard one stat. I can't remember the exact number, but we held Houston to only 9 points in the fourth quarter, which is. Hold any NBA team to 9 points is crazy, but Houston to 9 points is nuts. Yeah. And I think I saw that they've only the T-Wolves only done that a handful of times in their history. Held a team to less than double digits in one quarter, and since the trade, they've done it twice now.
That's a big. That's a tall task to hold the Rockets under 100 points. Number one. But I just feel like. Towns defensively, he can set in there, and what Harden likes to do is get in the middle of the paint, and they just wasn't letting him do it. So, and if he's not shooting well, he's not going to have a good night, and that's pretty much what happened.
And I think the Timberwolves, from it looks like when Jimmy B goes left, that they play more team ball. It's not about individual, like it's about this team and how this team can help win games and compete in the West. Because when they made the playoffs last year, 8th seed, but that was our longest playoff drought for what, almost 20 years or something like that, 18 years,
15.
Yeah. Since KG,
14,
since the big ticket. Yeah. So it's like, I think they're 500 right now since Jimmy B left. So they're 500. They can't. It's a positive in my eyes.
And I think a lot of it has to do with Covington. I had heard of Covington before the trade, but I didn't know a lot about him. But one thing I've commented before, undrafted from Tennessee State. I mean. I'm not going to pretend I follow the NBA super closely.
Rocco.
But I would assume there ain't a lot of undrafted star NBA players.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right? I mean, it's, you watch the draft, the first half of the first round, you usually get some solid players, and then it tapers quickly after that, especially the second round. Second round's a complete crapshoot when it comes to drafting players.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't even get drafted,
Right.
and now he's last year first team, all defensive team, he beat out Butler.
Right.
Well, this is
Because Butler was second team, so
well,
it's like,
when you come into the NBA undrafted, you come with a chip on your shoulder, so you have something to play for every night. Nothing's guaranteed. So he's just taking advantage of his opportunity, and he's playing his heart out, and it's paying off for him. That's really what it comes down to. Is he has a big chip on his shoulder. Nobody took a chance on him. Now he's gotten an opportunity, and he's making the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's I'm not sure how old he is. How old is he?
he's been in. Let me give me a quick second here. He's 20. He'll be turning 28 here December 14th.
So he's just starting his prime.
Yeah.
Like he's defense and a 3-point guy. Like, he can play defense and he'll shoot and he can knock down the 3 too. So I mean, it helps the Timberwolves all around. And Derrick Rose is looking like the old Derrick Rose.
Oh, yeah, Derrick Rose
is playing phenomenal.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just throw some stats at you guys quick here too, and I'm gonna include Rose on it. First, Covington averaging 14.4 since he's been with the Wolves, 6 rebounds, almost 3 steals a game.
Lovely.
To seemingly transition into Rose. Rose talking about Covington. He said, "I've never seen a guy play the way that he plays. I think this is the softest the NBA has ever been, but somehow he's able to get both hands on the ball, and he yanks the ball out of people's hands without getting a foul. That's unbelievable to me." That's what Rose said about Covington, and I was watching some of his stats. He just the guys drive the lane there, and he just reaches out and just snatches the ball, and it's like, I'll take that.
Right.
But going into the Rose, I saw this last night. He's a career 300 3-point shooter. He's shooting 487.
Wow. So his percentage is 48%. That's pretty damn.
That's huge.
Pardon my French.
Yeah. that's plus.
Don't worry, Tim. It was shocking, so we know.
Yeah. I mean, so he's in the top 5 in the NBA for 3-point percentage. So I mean, that's huge. And yes, Rose, you might as well write him down for the 6th man of the year. He's got it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
no doubt.
With the MVP to back it up.
Yeah.
Right? MVP and
I don't think any NBA player has done that before.
Yeah, I think
that I know of.
Well, he's got to do it first, but it would be an amazing feat.
That would be.
And then that boy was Saric.
Yep, Saric. Yeah.
From I don't know, Serbia.
Dario. Yeah. Super Dario.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing too. I mean, he's averaging 10.4 points a game. He's a great guy off the bench. He's good start if we have an injury, and I've heard very positive things about him too in his career with the 76ers. I think he led the team in points per game or something a couple of years ago.
Sark's a good player, but we can't listen. I can't let y'all do this. We cannot go through this entire conversation about the Timberwolves and not bring up the big cat. We just can't do it.
Yeah, well, I think we'll get in there. We got to talk about. See, everybody needs to know their role first.
Yeah.
You know, we got to talk about those role players and then get to the star players.
Yes, exactly. And I agree. Cat has definitely stepped up since Butler left too. I mean, I think he was probably the most happy to get rid of Butler on the team.
Yeah.
Now it's his team again.
It's his team, but he's gonna have. I mean, he's playing well, but I still believe he's gonna have to continue to be aggressive. And they're only going to go as far as the cat takes them.
I think Wiggins too, though, because Wiggins' game is better than it was last year.
Yeah,
Wiggins is playing even better this year.
Wiggins spotty. He's spotty.
He's spotty, but like compared to last year, he's doing so much better. Like his overall game, defensively.
Yeah,
Wiggins has stepped up. So.
Which he needed to.
Yeah,
I think
that contract. I hope he did.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody was really happy that he got the max with what he's shown, his inconsistency.
Yeah,
so
he's very
his age got him that contract.
But I'm telling you, they're only going to go as far as Cat Williams take him. He's going to have to be able to take this team over, and he's going to be the superstar, and Wiggins is going to have to be that sidekick. He's going to have to play Robin.
Yep, and then the thing about Cat is how many bigs is in their league? It's hard to find good bigs. It is. It's hard, and that can shoot the 3 because Cat can shoot.
Yep.
He has an overall game.
Yeah, it's becoming pretty commonplace though for bigs to be able to shoot threes.
It's getting a little closer, right? Yeah. They're a little more lankier. He's got a little more beef to him though.
Yeah, but I mean, like for 7-footers, other than Dirk, we got I mean, like I said, there's a couple. I mean, there's some out there
guys,
like 6'10". Yeah, but I'm talking like 7. Like
Antonio Davis.
They said Cat could be even 7'1" low key.
Yeah,
so.
Antonio Davis. You got the kid that's Cousins can do it. There's some out there that's
there's a few.
They can play the game.
Yeah, no, it's.
I mean, the thing about Cat is he could play the block and he could play.
Yeah, he's
and
a
he could
better.
play perimeter.
He's probably got the best post game. I'll give him that out of the centers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's hard to find. Like I said, it's hard to find good, big, solid bigs that could do both sides of and rebound and play D.
But I just feel like for him, he's got to demand the ball in the post, and take over games in the stretch. That's what superstars do. So he's got to be able to do that. And they got to be able to ride him and depend on him in the clutch.
So I got a question for you, Tim. Do you think he's a superstar?
I think he's borderline.
Okay, I can go with that.
Is that if that's going to be the difference, right? Taking over games.
That's right.
That's the step
That's
to
the
make him
difference.
into a
That's
superstar.
Right. He's on the cusp, but now he has to be able to, in the big games, take those games over, and then he can move into superstar status.
Yep. No, I agree. He tends to be a little timid when it gets to the fourth quarter.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you want the ball or not?
No threes. Get inside. Do what you do.
Yep.
Post up.
Bang.
Demand the ball.
Go to your strengths.
Either way, I think the rest of the season for the Wolves is going to be fun to watch, fun to follow, and just see what they are. You know, I don't see why they shouldn't make the playoffs. You know, sneak in as an 8, 7, 6 seed.
I think they're looking around 6. They could finish 6 seed. I think.
And that's good for the West.
I know.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
if you can make
exactly.
6 seed as the
Yeah.
West?
That's like the 3 seed. That's like the 2 seed or 3 seed in the East.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And the West is hard by itself.
tough.
All the talent's in the West. Even LeBron's in the West.
Yeah.
Well, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But getting kind of late on the podcast, so we'll try to start wrapping it up here. We'll get right in. We'll talk more Timberwolves as the season goes along. But why don't we go ahead and get your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players? Who do you have on your Mount Rushmore of Vikings players?
Well, I'll have to go with Fran Tarkenton because, you know, like I said, he went to 4 Super Bowls in his playing days, so you gotta add him. And I feel he's, you know.
Oh yeah, when he retired, he had almost all passing records.
Exactly, so you got to put him there. And I like Chris Carter. I mean, Chris Carter coached up Larry Fitzgerald, and look at Larry Fitz right now.
And Randy Moss.
And Moss, yes, and Moss. And Randy Moss, that's the next one. Moss, you know, Hall of Famer, you know, and then AP. I mean, I know a lot of people don't got their thing and they questions about AP, but you can't. You got to respect the stats and the way he played and what he did for the team when he was here.
Yeah,
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, first ballot, Golden Jacket, give it to him.
Yeah, he should be. He should be. And I was just so disappointed on I wish his career with the Vikes would have ended differently. Obviously, it's a changing league, and we had to move on from him.
Yeah,
we just had to.
This is what happened.
Point.
In my opinion, this is what happened with Adrian Peterson and the Minnesota Vikings. The whole switch incident where he whooped his kid and got in trouble. I just felt like that Minnesota didn't have his back. So at that point, I just think the relationship never got back to where it should have gotten back to after that.
And with that, I agree with that too. And I also think that contract, he was going to get paid quarterback money.
Yeah.
And you can use that money on other places like that defense.
And I think speaking of contract and overpaying for running backs, I think Le'Veon Bell is going to have a reality check when he hits free agent market.
It depends.
I mean, they're a bad team. I mean, if he wants to go to a crap team who's got a lot of
like the Jets,
with a lot of cap room that's willing to pay him that, but he's not going to go to a winner.
No,
yeah. If he wants the money he wants, he's probably going to go to a losing team.
So you'll see. Does he want to win or does he want money?
Yeah.
I think we know he wants money because he sat out this year.
Right.
that's right.
Unless he can get that decent contract, and like he said, he wants to play with luck. So.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That'd be a crazy matchup there. Well, that was a great Mount Rushmore, Cam. It was. Like I said, those all 4 have been on multiple ones, but you can't go wrong with any one of those 4.
I was debating with Jared Allen too, because Jared Allen was.
Yeah.
Jared Allen.
I just don't think his longevity. He didn't play.
That's where it got me at. That's where it got me.
But man, those seasons were awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
It was
wrap them up.
Yes, it was awesome. So, well, thank you. We'll wrap it up here. Thanks, Tim, for coming in. Thanks, Cam, for being on your first one. I'd love to have you back again in the future, Cam, if you're interested.
Love to come back.
Yeah, awesome. So, once again, thank you to the Fan Zone for sponsoring us, and we will see you all next week.